Friends, welcome back to another episode of the Field and Garden Podcast. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler. Super glad you've dropped in here, and how about it? 5 tips in 5 minutes. This is your recording to take a listen to, maybe while you're running to the grocery store or who knows what, but we all should have 5 minutes to maybe have a little reminder planted in our ear. So before I jump in, just remember that this podcast is made possible by thegardenersworkshop.com, where you will find all your needs for education and supplies as you start or dream of or expand your flower farming business. So let's dive into 5 minutes for 5 tips. Out of the gate, for me, are weeds. Friends, so how the best method with weeds is to prevent them, and that is all about the way that you set your garden up. We have talked about this in a lot of different ways, shown it, and I can't tell you that has come around to be the secret to my almost tidy farm, is to actually build our gardens with the intention of how am I going to prevent weeds from actually happening. Then it still happens, y'all. There are always spots that just don't get the treatment that we do, whether that's suppression or thick planting of flowers. Weeds grow, and I have come to understand that getting them when they're small, that is just the quickest and easiest ways to extinguish weeds. All right, number 2, succession planting, the secret to every producer's success, whether you're a vegetable, an herb, or a flower farmer, right? And right about now, I'm recording this in May, mid-May, like Mother's Day. We're heading into the season where you're going to be so overwhelmed with tasks of day to day that you're going to forget. So you need to designate time or get somebody, hire someone. That was one of my very first hires, was my niece that just showed up one day a week to sow seeds. You have to think about the future flowers, because there is nothing worse than suffering through summer to wake up to a busy fall, and guess what? You have no flowers. So friends, you have to move succession planting to the top of the pile. Building sales, that is number 3. I was always beating the bushes for more sales, even the weeks that I sold pretty much all of my flowers. I always, particularly because we did business drop-off bouquet subscriptions, I would always take along 1 or 2 additional bouquets and keep my eyes peeled for convenient other businesses that I wanted their business. I dropped off the bouquet that had a card stuck in it and says, this is available once a week for 10 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever, with just the general short and sweet information. There is no better way to learn and to snatch up more customers than to give them your a sample of your product, right? So never stop looking. You're only as good as your last sale, y'all. Never take your eye off of that ball. That's the way that you just keep that momentum coming. And lastly, don't run out of supplies. This is kind of really important, but really a backseat. You know, I'm talking about seeds, soil for seed starting, sleeves if you're selling bouquets, flower conditioning products for all of your outlets. And I'll tell you that one particular year, I put holes in the ends of the gloves that I had actually been wearing. They weren't the Atlas gloves that I currently wear. And trying to harvest without gloves that day was horrible, and that's what led me to discover the Atlas gloves, right? I was gifted the next week with some of those gloves. So always, I try now to purchase supplies with the whole next season in mind, because Once you get into your season, friends, these are the things that fall off your radar and you just don't ever get back to it. And what is another super important one? Paperwork, y'all. If you think you don't have time to stop and do your weekly paperwork, you do not know you will never have time to stop and do a whole season's worth of paperwork. It's just like seed starting. Designate the time and or a person. I designate the time. That was always like eat the ugly frog first. Wednesdays, I would go out to my office. I had blinders on going out to the office to take care of posting invoices, doing paperwork, y'all. Payroll, taxes, all those things only get bigger and scarier the more you avoid them. I always remember some really words of wisdoms from the smart man that I'm married to. Just because you ignore it, it doesn't mean it's going away. Eat the ugly frog, friends. So I hope these 5 little reminder tips have helped you. And just remember to head on over to thegardenersworkshop.com for a fully stocked garden shop, online course library, tons of resources. Connect with our podcasts, our blog. Friends, until we meet again, signing off, your friend in flowers, Lisa. Ciao.